Blessings crew, and welcome to this week's offering. A little bit of an eclectic mixture rather than workshoppy this week after last week's HIIT workshop. So just the usual routine, making sure that you're looking after your body. Think about what you've been doing in the last few days and even just how your muscles are feeling, so that when you're doing your various poses you can tune into what you need. And if something doesn't feel right, make an adjustment, do something different, but lots of listening in. The usual, we've got a 20-minute start that you can do as your practice for the week, and then you can also build the hour in when you can. So let's start with some breathing though. We're going to sit for a moment and just kind of sit into the space, sit into your sit bones, find a comfortable place to sit. Might be putting something under your hips just to lift you up. Just kind of sitting for a moment, and maybe close your eyes or maybe find something beautiful in the space that you're in to look at. And we're going to breathe out, so we want to let that breath kind of sink us into our pelvis, into our seat. And as you breathe in, let that breath arrive, let the inhale arrive. And as we breathe out, we're going to breathe out, we're going to settle and think about the land underneath us, how you're connected into the place where you are. And do a couple of breaths like that, feeling like you're sitting on the earth, on Mother Earth. Think about the ancestors of the place that you live in, your connection to those ancestors, to your own ancestors. So we're weaving ourselves into place. We're going to blink our eyes open, and we're going to inhale and take our arms up. We're going to start to move into their shoulders. And then as we exhale, just really slow movement team, so no throwing your body around, just feeling into those movements for a moment. Inhale, bring it up, like we're stroking the air on the way up. And down. So we're just really kind of moving into that space and spaciousness in the body. And just as we move with the breath, we're also tuning in a bit more to how our body's feeling. So if you've got achy shoulders, they might start to complain. It's like, okay, we're going to get some movement in there. When we come down next time, we're going to leave our left hand where it is. Once we touch down, we're going to lift this right arm up. We're going to look under that arm. We're going to reach it over and just kind of lift the ribs. Feel into that space in between the ribs. Take a breath. Let that breath out. When you're ready to inhale, come up. And over to the other side, taking that gaze under that arm, finding your breath. Lift the ribs, feel those muscles. Let's do it again. We're going to lift up and we're going to take it over. And we're just going to reach into that space and we're lifting. So we can be quite gentle, or we can be quite controlled, quite kind of movement oriented. So it can look easy, or we can make it quite strong. It kind of depends how you're feeling. These are some of my favourites as we change sides. Just go slow. But playing with movement within a pose. Especially if you're kind of used to just kind of going into a pose. This is that real mindful awareness of the body and movement as we come back to centre. We're going to take our left hand around behind us and our right hand over to this left knee. Just start to turn slowly, looking over that shoulder. Taking the gaze around, so opening your eyes up and looking as far as you can behind you. Notice that breath, so especially the exhale, give yourself some room. And come back around slowly, changing sides. hovering over that shoulder, kind of finding some space in your body, finding that connection. So drop shoulders, be kind of aware of the amount of leverage you can put into the twist, so we're not going too far. Aware of what feels good, those eyes open, that gaze turning as well. Bringing it back to center. Bring the soles of the feet together, so into Baddha Konasana. We're going to bring our feet out just a little bit, so probably 2 hand widths away from the pelvis, but further if it's more comfortable, crows, to make sure you've got some room. Wriggle. We're going to lift up through the chest, so we really want to feel like we're lengthening out the spine. We're not just kind of curling over towards our feet, and we're just going to bring that spine forward just to where we feel it. Keeping it nice and long, nice and straight. Rolling shoulders down. A few deep breaths here. And again, just feeling the feels. Where's that tension? If you've got your knees up around your ears, just be patient. If you can get your head on the floor, just little subtle movements. Lift your chest a little bit. Extend the crown of your head forward. Lifting up, bring your feet in nice and close. Some little adjustment. And we're going to see how I've got hold of my feet. We're then going to turn our feet open. Okay, so as some of you, they won't open like a book. Okay, so this is that ankle foot kind of flexibility. But as you grab, particularly where the ball of your foot is, and start to turn, you might feel that it actually works into the hips as well. So it's a funny wee connection between that movement and some movement in there. Again, this time when we lift up, we might not get as far. So as we start to come forward, so just kind of be aware of that. It might feel a little bit different. You're working deeper into some muscles. Feel for your breath, feel for that length along the spine. Really bringing that presence to whatever movement is there for you. And then lifting back up, and we're going to find our way into a squat, crow. So think about your squat, where you're getting to with it. Is it something that you need to stand up and then come back down into? Is it a half squat rather than a full? So lots of playing there with this. So find your way there, and once you are in your version, we want to have our feet flat and our elbows kind of supporting our knees and our heels kind of edge-ish of the mat. So make sure you've got enough space. Some people don't create enough space for their hips to actually come down into that space. And we're just going to breathe into that. Remember from last week, if you did last week's session, that we did these little kind of rocks, really controlled with those knees. So just if you've got that movement, check your knees, especially if you're nice and low down like this. It might be ready for some movement. Breathe into that space. Then our hands are going to come down, and we're going to lift. As we lift, we slide those heels out, and we're going to bring our fingertips to the floor. We're going to stretch along the spine. Okay, so we're lifting our spine back up, straightening it out. If you're really tight, walk your hands back up onto your legs so that you can get that lovely straightness. And then whatever movement there is around the hips, we keep that spine nice and straight for as we start to drop down, let the head go. We're going to bring our heels back in, come back into your version of a squat. Just go slow. And head coming up. So especially those of us where the blood pressure's a bit low, sometimes you're like, ooh, enjoy the stars. Lots of breathing team, and again we're straightening our spine up, so if you're really hunched up, just lift a little bit, find your way into that shape. Then our hands come down, our hips lift, our heels come out, straighten out the spine again, so don't just drop down, give yourself all of that kind of wriggle room. And then come down slowly around those hips, or support yourself, hands on the shins, the knees. Those of you that wish, reach your hands around, lift your fingers, just take your arms up towards the roof a little bit. Bring your arms down slowly if you've had them up. Walk them towards the front of the mat because we're going to come into a down dog. So walk into plank. And then lift up through the hips. Into down dog, just slow. Using those hips as that lift. Rolling the shoulder blades away, let the heels just release. Long deep breath. Knees can come down whenever they need to, crew. So lots of listening into your body. What does it need? We're going to find our way to all fours. And we're going to get cat to cow pose. I'll try and get my words out. Inhale, bring that chest up and forward. Exhale, take it the other way. Center of the chest, center of the spine, lifting up towards the roof. When you're ready to inhale, come forward. Just let that lower back move with the movement. Don't make it the driving force. So let that mid-spine to drive. Rhythm of your breath, just nice and slow. And we've got one more like that, just slow, squeeze the air out. And then let's take this left foot forward and into low lunge. Hands can be where they're comfortable, inside or outside. Just kind of work into that. Sink the hips forward, feel that stretch in that back thigh. Roll the shoulders down, let's not hunch, let's lengthen out along that spine a bit more. Take a breath. I'm going to draw back, half split. Pull back slowly, ball of the foot and toes lifting. Ease it back, let the head drop. I'm going to come forward, tuck the back toes under into the high lunge. Same idea, heel presses back, lengthen along that spine. Notice I'm up on my fingertips, it's an arm length boob thing. Some people it's knuckles, some people can get their palms flat. I've got long enough arms. So push back slowly with that heel. Really feel like you can sink into it, so we're going to feel what's going on. Hips back of that front leg, front of that back leg. We're lifting the hips, slowly straightening out this front leg. We're not snapping that knee back, it's all through that hip lift. We might need to walk our hands up our shin if we're a bit tight in the hamstring. Let the head drop, sink into it. We're going to come back into down dog cruise, so come forward. You can drop that right knee if we need to, or just step it back and up, and just feel what's going on left to right. So left heel might be coming down further than the right. There's a whole different release happening in those legs as we come up on the two sides of the body. Come forward, knees come down, right foot steps it up, low lunge. And just easing into it again, just finding where the hands need to go, straightening out along that spine. Bring the hips forward so you start to feel that movement in your body. And sink into the breath, so just kind of working through where the breath needs to be. Letting that exhale out. Easing into that half split. So pulling the hips back, ball of the foot, toes come up at the same time. Come forward, we're moving into that high lunge. It's a bit slow, so noticing how your head space is as we sink down, so the little micro movements that we can do that keep us focused, especially if your mind has a tendency to wander. So when we're coming into this, it might be that you just work on pushing the heel back a little bit, or bring the hips down a bit further. You might focus into your breathing, so just kind of shift your awareness around so that your head doesn't get in the way of your practice quite so much. It becomes a tool in your practice, especially when it's going slow like this. So good for the body and mind, but a challenge for the mind too sometimes. So from there, that lifting of the hips, straightening-ish this front leg, find your enough point with it and sink into the breath. Come forward, we're stepping back into down dog, so find your way there, lifting up through the hips. 20-minute crew, we're kind of coming to the end of that first 20 minutes, so give yourself just that moment, tune into how your body's feeling. Long deep breath, lift up through the hips, feel now what's happening in your legs, your shoulders, your neck. Give those hips a bit of a wriggle. We're going to step our feet out to the edges of the mat. Then walk your hands in so that you come into a forward fold. Do that little straighten out, so up onto the fingertips or onto the shins, straighten out the spine. And come down,
the head drop. Reach those arms around again if it felt good, or maybe you weren't warm enough that first time. Bring the forearms onto the thighs, start to bend into a half squat, bring the head up higher than your heart. Come up slowly to standing from there. Just give yourself a moment. We're going to step ourselves up to the front of the mat. So our crew that are leaving us at this point for your 20-minute practice, just take a moment, if you can, do a little Shavasana do. If you're staying on for the hour, we're just kind of resetting ourselves. So we're coming into feet, knees, hips, breathing. Just take that moment, just kind of feel into that space. Wriggle your toes. I'm going to close our eyes for a moment, come back into the breath. Or soften your gaze if it doesn't feel quite right to close your eyes. Feel that breath along the spine. Feel it in the belly. Feel it right down in your pelvis. Check that your glutes are there as support, but they're not really tight. So look after all that tension in the body. We're going to blink our eyes open, link our fingers, point our forefingers. Reach up into that space. So big inhale, reach it up. Take the gaze up if we can. Unlock. So that space between your ribs and your pelvis, feel like you're unlocking and reaching up. You might walk a little bit with each side, so that's where we kind of lift one side of the ribs then the other, just to loosen up, get the feeling into it. Bring your breath back down onto the belly. Then bring those hands back down through that center line, just slow. And take the weight into our right foot and step our left foot back as far as you comfortably can, and then turn your feet into a wide leg forward fold. So coming into that shape. Again, we're going to work on that nice straight spine team. So that means that for this first bit, even if you know that you can get your head on the floor, we're just going to take our hands to just above our knees. And we're going to bring our spine parallel with the floor. Okay? Just kind of feel that. Notice where the weight wants to be on your feet. If you're quite tight, you're going to rock back quite a bit. So you're going to come slightly forward towards the ball of your foot. Lengthen out along that spine. Feel that length in your body. Then, let's see if we get our fingertips to the floor. Again, flexi crew. Give yourself permission to take it slow. It can be really good to just kind of lengthen out. And then, if you can, start to drop down. Don't lose that beautiful straight spine. Let your head go last. Find your breath. Hamstring crew, go gently. Unlock those knees, team. Walk it up slow. Bring yourself up, especially blood pressure crew. Just take a moment. Okay, so we want to feel what's happening in our pelvis. So let's kind of shift our hips one way, then the other. Give everything a wriggle. What we're going to do, we're going to come to that halfway mark again. Okay, so just come around, bring the hands around. Feel the strength it takes to hold your body there, because we're going to turn left. So we're going to go to the left. We're going to walk our hands around to the outside
of that left knee. Just going to feel what that feels like. Still staying parallel with the floor, with your spine. Breathe. Walk it back to center. And then walk it around the other way. Okay, so feel all the muscles that it takes to do that. Keep some weight in your feet, okay, so we're not twisting our hip at the same time. Bring it back to center. Drop it down into that forward fold, just go slow. Head dropping, face dropping. Option here again, reaching the arms around, linking fingers, reaching up towards the roof. Let the head go, let that mid-spine get that beautiful stretch. Shoulder blades a little squeeze together. Bring the arms down if you've had them up. Lift up to the halfway mark. Come up slow, walk your way up to standing. Look after the blood pressure. She says to herself, woo. We can stay with that movement, okay? With our hands doing the working around, or core crew. So crew that are a little bit stronger or wanting to strengthen the core and feel confident. We come around to that halfway mark again. So really, and again, it's all about control, right? So we know we've got our knees locked, we're lengthening out, we've got our weight slightly forward so we're not leaning back too much into those heels. And this time we take our hands away. Now, we can have hands at the heart, or we can have arms extended. As you extend your arms, you're going to feel how strong that is. Okay, so have a go. And go, ooh, might be hands at the heart day, or no, that felt pretty good. And you're moving to that left side, slowly. Take a breath. And you're moving back to center. Around, right side, stretch away, take a breath, and back through that center line, take it over, breathe, bring it back around, slowly, and over, and take a breath. Keep it going just nice and slow. Lots of control. Arms can come in. If you've got them extended, just really looking after everything. Around slow. The movement is beautiful and slow. We're not trying to speed into it. You do one more each side, so just go slow. Bring it back to center, drop into that forward fold. Let those arms come down. Let the head drop, just come around slow. Let those shoulders go, let the head really release. Big deep breath along the spine. Now we're going to walk around to the front foot. Just turning back into that front foot. So turning our feet, bring the back knee down. Wriggle out that front foot. Walk the knees out to the edge of the mat. And bring your big toes together. Pull back slowly, variation of pose the child. Reach the arms away, bring the heart towards the floor. Bring the head down. walk the hands in, tuck the toes under, lift up into our cowherd pose, so ball of the foot if you can, team, otherwise stay with frog pose, stretch it out that way. If you can come up onto the ball of foot, great foot exercise. Knees come out. We can bring our hands to the heart, or we can reach our arms up and link those fingers. And really extend again, we're extending that space between your ribs, your pelvis. Really feeling like we're undoing, especially if you sit a lot for work, undoing all of that. If you've got your arms up, just bring those arms out nice and slow. Down. Let's come back to the floor, bring those knees down. Sit on the feet, so flatten the feet. Just sit into Vajrasana. Let's hands to our thighs, shoulders drop down. Just kind of feel into the breath. Softening, just noticing we might do little movements that just bring us back to that awareness. And again, it's those little movements where when you have a pose like this and your brain goes, what's next? What are we doing? Shopping list. It's like, oh, hi brain. Let's focus on our breathing. Let's wriggle our toes. Let's kind of wriggle our body a little bit. Bring that brain just into a different focus. No point fighting it. Doesn't work very well. Okay, then we're going to lift ourselves back to here. And we're going to turn ourselves around. Okay, so mine is gate pose. Quite a lovely pose. We're going to take whichever foot goes that way, out. Okay, and the same arm just goes out onto that leg. Okay, we want to feel again. We're going to kind of lift up and out of the pelvis so that when we sweep over towards that foot, we're not kind of dropping, we're lifting. And we really feel those ribs starting to get some stretch on. Drop the shoulder that has that hand on that leg. Take a few breaths. When we lift up, we're going to take that top hand, let's bring the fingertips down to the floor and swing that arm over. So our hand that's just been touching our leg is now reaching in the other direction. We're lifting up slow and coming back into gate pose. So slow, reaching it out, turning to look under that arm, dropping the shoulder, big deep breath. And again, just moving slowly over, reaching. Lift it up, slide that leg in, and we're going to turn ourselves around and do the other side. You kind of notice, give everything a wriggle, and then extend that leg out, put a hand on it and just kind of feel that length again. We're really starting to hopefully undo some tension. So we're going over towards the foot first, so big inhale up, lift those ribs, reach into it. then slowly over and over, reach into it. So going the other way, kind of feeling, where are you holding that tension? Can you lift your ribs a little bit in this one? Inhale, come up slow. Exhale, take it over. Just really feeling into the breathing. And the other way, just slow. And we come back up to center. We're just going to move back to that kneeling shape. So turn around. Remember with these ones, team, if we need cushions underneath our butt, we can. You know, if you can't sit down onto your feet, but sit down onto those feet or cushions. Or we can sit in open cross-legged, whatever feels good. Roll the shoulders down. Do those little movements, they're like, oh yeah, I can feel what I was doing there. Breathe. Then we're going to sit ourselves down and come into Baddha Konasana again, and our slightly wider version. So soles of the feet together, and that kind of two hand, and then just lift up along that spine. Just like get that sense of lengthening out. And as we come forward, just notice as there are a few millimeters more movement than there was back at the start of class. I'm going to breathe into that, lengthen along that spine. Releasing, coming up, bring the soles of the feet a little closer together. Let's do that opening of our feet again. Just to say it was like opening a book. Might not feel very open at first. That's all right. And again, that lean is coming forward. Roll the shoulders down. Feel that length along the spine, so we're rolling around our hips to get forward. And come back up nice and slow. So a few weeks now of working on our kind of cross-legged feet ankle thingies. So let's just pop it in now. So we're just going to sit open cross-legged, and whichever foot has naturally gone into the front, we're going to start just by turning that foot, so just like we did in Baddha Konasana, so the sole of the foot's coming up towards the roof as much as we can. Just go gently, a little stretch. Now team, this might be plenty, especially those of you that find it really hard to bring that foot up off the floor. Just kind of lean into it today, kind of play with the shape a little bit. Those that can, lift that foot up, first layer. Okay, so onto the calf muscle, to that crease. We're going to bring the upper body up, so we're going to breathe into it. So this bottom foot supporting this knee, so it's not trying to drop out of the hip. Okay, so we've got some support. If this knee is like up here, just give it some love, give it some patience. Then those that can, or if you want to just have a go,
We're sliding that foot up into half lotus, so it's coming up towards that crease. Initially it's often here, right, and it feels like it's kind of cutting into that leg a bit, but over time we kind of slide it in a bit more. And again, this bottom foot is just supporting this knee, so this hip's all nice and supported. Knees, so important, crew, and so easy to injure in being overzealous with these ones. So just kind of check that it's quite light, that it's got movement. Come into the breath if we need to drop down the layers, do. If you've just kind of got that foot on the floor, keep working with it, keep leaning gently into it. Big deep breath, those that want to, okay, and that are comfortable here, okay, comfort, big part of this, lean forward. Okay, so again, that roll around the hips, we don't want to kind of C-shape the spine, we want to be coming down nice and strong. Breathe into that. Similar sensations to doing pigeon pose. Let's wander up if you've come forward, bring that foot down. Take the legs out in front, give them a little gentle shake, just really gently. Sometimes we find when we line our feet up that this foot that you've just worked longer than the other foot now. Okay, so we're releasing tension out of our feet as we go along. Changing sides, so start with that open cross-legged and we're just going to work with that foot. So turning the ball of the foot upwards. Let's be gentle. Nice time to do some pressure point work. Ball of your foot if you wish. So this might be where we're staying, or if we can come up into that calf, do that. Extend up through the body, so bring that body up. So we're sitting in the pelvis. So remember these poses were all designed so that you could sit comfortably in meditation. Now a lot of people finding meditation really, really difficult because we just can't bring that mind to rest. So rest first, meditation after. But also our body is not comfortable, we're just not moving in the way that we probably need to. It doesn't help, does not help our meditation practice. So let's, if you can, slide up into half lotus and just kind of notice knees, so check in with knees. Make sure we're feeling okay, there's no pressure in there that shouldn't be there. And then it's the same thing, those that are comfy, leaning forward. Unravel from wherever you've got to in that one. Take these legs out in front. It'll shake, or loosen up. Into Dandasana, so hands are coming down, shoulders dropping down. Might be knuckles or fingertips, arm length, big part of this. I'm going to drop into that space, active feet, so not pulling the ball of the foot back so that we're really tight. Just like there's a wall there and you're resting your feet on that wall. Breathe for a moment, just coming into the breath. You might close your eyes, you might soften your gaze. Let's blink our eyes open and bring this left foot in to here. Now these ones, team, again are about picking the leg up, and we can find that quite difficult. If it's because you're kind of leaning back and it's putting you off balance, pop that little kind of cushion under your sit bones just so you're lifting your pelvis a little bit. I'm going to bring that foot up, and this time our knee's going out to the side of it. Okay, so our foot's going to end up close to our tummy button. Okay, so we're going to bring our foot in and just give it a hug into the belly. And again, careful of knees.
roll the shoulders down. It's quite strong, your leg can feel quite heavy. And so just kind of working with that straight spine, the deep breath. Okay, let's take hold of, so right hand on that left foot, left hand on the knee. I'm going to roll some circles into that hip. Okay, so we're using our arms to move that leg. Change that direction, go around the other way. Pause. This time we're aiming our foot for the centre of our chest. Okay, so we might end up out here somewhere, okay? Or we might be able to bring it in, give it a hug and a squeeze until it comes kind of in close. So the knees out to the side team, that's quite strong into that hip. We're lifting up through that spine again, so we don't want to be all hunched up. Try and lift into it, breathe. And to finish the sequence, right hand over the top of that left foot, bring it across the body into that IT band, so that stretch here. Just press the heel away, feel for that stretch, drawing it across as much as feels okay. Find your breath. Bring that back, and two sides team. So bring that leg out, give it another little shake. Again, we might find slight difference in foot length, definitely sometimes a difference in leg length after that sequence. Okay, bring this right foot in, and so again, just kind of finding the two hips might feel different, body might feel different on this side, and pick that foot up and just bring it in towards the belly button. Okay, so knee out to the side, foot coming in. So notice that a lot of this focus is turning this foot so that the sole of the foot's towards you. Again, it's that ankle flexibility and strength in the ankle as well. So breathe, lengthen up along that spine. Then left hand to right foot, right hand, right knee, circles. Change that direction, round the other way we go. And then foot towards the chest. Okay, so lift it up and just draw it into wherever it reaches. So we're not forcing, it's quite strong, there's a lot of pressure of that foot wanting to go the other way. So you've got to be very conscious of what your body feels able to do. Two sides can again feel really, really different too. We're
going to take your left hand over the top of that right foot, so to bring it across the body into our beautiful IT band stretch. Sometimes I say that with my thumb firmly pressed into my cheek. So breathing into that. Bringing it back to centre from there. Bring the legs out in front, little shake. A little bit of space between the legs to feel comfortable bringing your belly forward, okay? So they might go outwards, they might be quite close together. Just make sure we've got that space for our body. Lifting up, reach those arms up. And again, we're rolling around those hips, trying not to C-shape the spine. Don't grab your toes, okay? If you're going for your feet, grab the outside edge or just bring your hands down onto your ankles. We don't want to pull those toes back. Just breathe, feel that stretch. Feel all the mahi, all the work that you've done in this session so far. So our next sequence leads us into Shavasana too. So just a short Shavasana, but we are going to turn ourselves over and lie down. So, and as you lie down, bring your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your hands around them. Do some little circles around that lower back. Just looking after it, noticing any pressure points. If there's a pressure point that needs a bit of leaning into, then do that. Pause and push it into the floor. Change that direction, take the circles around the other way. And then we're going to take our arms out wide, bring your feet down to the floor, lift your hips up and over to the left, and then take your knees right into the twist, turning your head to look along that left arm, anchor that left shoulder. Long deep breath. Let yourself sink into it and soak. So many benefits to the twist, so feeling what's happening in your body. Knees come up slowly, hips come back to centre, and then shift over to the right and knees go left, turning the head to the right. Just again that movement into it and then a releasing into the pose. Bring those knees back to centre, hips back to centre, soles of the feet together, knees drop out to the sides, arms reach up and then over your head, reach them out, give everything a big stretch, and then bend at the elbows and just soften for a moment. If it's too much on those shoulders, just bring the hands back onto the belly. Let that breath soak, your body sink. bring those knees back together, bring the arms over, hands to the belly or alongside the body. You might stretch the legs away and just soften into rest. Starting just with the idea of rest. What does it mean to just stop for a few minutes? And that's it, just stop. No work, no plans. No, I must focus and meditate. Just resting, just softening, feeling your body, resting on the floor, feeling your breath. Feel like each point that's touching the floor, just able to sink you closer to Mother Earth, just like when we started class, that real sinking into, connecting up. Bringing yourself into place, into connection with the land, ancestors, your body. Those that can take a longer Shavasana or want to move into meditation, now's that time to just turn that volume off. Those that need to get on with their day, we're just going to hang out in that quiet just for a couple of minutes and then I'll bring you back. Let's take 5 slow breaths together. And think about that connection across time and space. Doesn't matter when you're picking this up. Just that connectedness with yoga, with community. We're going to reach our arms just slowly up and over your head. Wander your feet up your mat if you haven't already got them there. Give your toes a wriggle. Turning over onto your left side. Just come up slowly to seated. Take your time. And just kind of sit into that space for a moment. Let's find our breath. Notice your spine. Notice how your body's feeling after your practice. Again, sinking our awareness down into that connection with the earth, with our body. Our sense of place, our sense of community perhaps. Community doesn't always have to be our human community. It might be our animals, might be our plants. Weaving ourselves into place. I'm going to reach our arms up on an inhale. Gather in some of that beautiful energy that you've created. Bring it to the heart space. And just just kind of bring your focus into that heart. It's a place that we don't always feel comfy. Hopefully you do, in which case celebrate that. If you don't, just be gentle. It's your place, your space. Another way we can connect with it is left underneath, right on top, link your fingers, just across the chest. Just feel like you're giving yourself a really gentle hug. Bring all that gentleness that you would give somebody else to yourself, even for a second. And on that note, many blessings everyone. Thank you for joining me in this practice. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.